Hi, everyone. Hiya.
Hi, Izzy. Hi,
Hey.
Izzy.
Hello. Okay, just letting people in before we start. Okay. Um, Thanks for your message, Steve. I'll think about that in one moment. Okay, in the chat, Steve, the credit card, were you trying to do that on PayPal?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also tried another card that it now maybe just something on this end that needs to be addressed. I'm not sure, but I just want to let you know.
Okay, no, that's really useful. Thank you. I think that's probably my end. Yeah, so there might I actually haven't updated that, the coffee and the PayPal. And I think I might have got a new card in the process, so that might be why. So yeah, maybe I'll try and sort that out tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, well, lovely to see everyone again. Some familiar faces, some new faces. It's been a bit of time since I've done one of these, obviously. So yeah, it's lovely to see everyone again. Well, so I suppose whilst it is sort of been 6 months or so since I last shared anything, unfortunately, you could say nothing has changed in terms of this message, if you like. So, of course, what's being suggested here is really that this is all there is. So, this is everything in that sense. So, when I say this, I really mean just this, us talking on Zoom. So, just the pure simplicity of that, if you like. That's all there is. So yeah, there's nothing that's being sort of pointed to that's hidden or mysterious or that's being overlooked, if you like. So the suggestion on this meeting or whatever is that what seems to be happening in front of us, if you like, sort of a body looking at a screen, talking and listening, is everything already. So yeah, I mean, this is just very simple, if you like. This is the totality. So there is nothing else. There is nothing waiting to happen, or there's nothing that could happen to make this more complete, because what appears to be happening is perfectly complete as it is. Yeah, it is perfect and whole, if you like. So yeah, of course, this also isn't an intellectual theory or a understanding or a realization. This is the natural reality, if you like. This is the way things are, if you like. There's just this total energetic wholeness, just this boundless wholeness. So, yeah, I'm not talking about something or talking about a theory or anything spiritual or theoretical. What's being suggested is what appears to be happening. So, yeah, as I say, this is totally energetic, this message, if you like. So when listening to this, there seems to be something perhaps that resonates, some sort of energy that can resonate over there, if you like, with what's being said. It's just totally energetic. It's indescribable. It's gorgeous. Yeah, you can't catch it. You can't capture it. So, and of course, the key thing, if you like, something that's often said, if you like, is that of course this doesn't happen to anyone. So this is just not personal in any way. It's actually just impossible for anything to be personal because there is no such thing as a person. It just doesn't happen ever. Just doesn't exist already. So there just seem to be bodies sitting on Zoom, listening to Izzy speaking, asking a question. Whatever happens is already happening to no one and by no one. So there's no experience of this, and it's just too direct. There's just no room for anyone. It's just totally full of itself already. And of course, there is no one who is no one, if you like, or who becomes no one. So there's just Izzy being Izzy and whoever being whoever. The character, if you like, the body is just perfectly itself as a natural expression. And it just can't be any other way. Okay. So yeah, I suppose that's a summary, if you like, of what we seem to talk about here. So, yeah, if anyone wants to ask anything, feel free to do so in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and speak. Yeah, and let's see what comes up. Okay. Um, that's very kind. Hi, Rod. Nice to see you. Hi. Um, Nothing's changed then, but Izzy, I like your new haircut. Thank you very much. That's very kind. It has grown quite a lot since we last since I last did a meeting, probably. Okay, so Rob, well, yeah, of course this was going to come up. How come you stopped? Did you go seeking again? Um, no, I mean, no, I mean, yeah, I didn't go seeking again, of course, but yeah, I mean, well, to just address this second thing, that whole energetic thing just died back whenever it was last year when I first started doing the meetings. So yeah, that's just, well, it was never actually there, of course, but that whole so-called setup just totally collapsed. So yeah, no, in short, it didn't come back. I didn't go seeking again. But there does seem to be oh, thank you, Ben. That's very good. Nice to see you too. Um, there does seem to be a healing process, you can say, that comes with this so-called collapse, or there has been for me, or here anyway. So it seems with the sort of energetic collapse of this kind of seeking energy, as you called it, Rob, there almost seems to then be this um, true, in-depth kind of healing of the body, one could say. So yeah, all the conditioning and stress and beliefs, one could say, that the body has developed throughout my life, if you like, so far, yeah, there just seems to be this sort of cleansing, if you like, this cleansing process. So, yeah, I mean, it just seems to be happening on its own, of course, like everything. Um, so there just seems to be quite a lot of energy kind of going into that at the moment for me. So hence why there's sort of been this kind of slowing down of the sharing, but yeah, in a nice way. It's kind of been recently there seemed to be a bit more interest in maybe sharing again. So hence this Zoom meeting, perhaps. But yeah, it sounds nice. Well, I mean, it's actually been very painful, to tell the truth, because of course a lot of this pain that perhaps hasn't even been conscious for years seems to just be coming out of my system, you could say. So yeah, I mean, of course well, maybe that sounds nice. But but it hasn't there hasn't sort of been yeah, an experience of it, I guess. So it's not nice, or it's not, but it's also, yeah, it's not, oh God, this is totally awful. It's just what's happening, just sort of this emotional healing, you could say. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful process in many ways. Hi Imran.
Hi, Izzy. You okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Okay. I was going to say I can relate a lot to what you're saying. Often, I think in non-duality, people can go and listen to speakers in radical non-duality and think that, okay, there's going to come a time where I will fall away, and that's going to be a one-off event. But I myself have been through lots and lots of painful, if you like, change cycles or shedding cycles, shedding of old conditioning. What I wanted to ask you was, I came back last week from a week-long intensive in Vietnam, a non-duality
Oh
intensive.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, with
With
JP.
yeah. So that was really, really, really good. When I got back, it felt like I hadn't come back, meaning I couldn't necessarily relate to my old life. The things I normally do didn't make any sense. The fact that I get up in the morning and put myself together, that weren't happening anymore. But more importantly, there doesn't seem to be this person who likes to do certain things on a daily basis to feel complete, and who is hoping to reach some sort of destination in life. So there's been I don't know what to call it, a significant dropping away. And it can be genuinely bewildering, this sort of stage, because the me panics when he feels very frozen or disorientated or in awe of nature, doing nothing. So I just wanted to ask you, these sort of things sound a little bit familiar, not necessarily personally, but just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, totally, totally. So, yeah, as you say, personally, I mean, I I can't really remember now the whole really detailed in such detail sort of what it was like for me, I'd say, but I certainly do recall there being these sort of shifts, kind of like you describe in a way. So yeah, almost like maybe something seemed to get through, something seemed to be heard on a intensive or a retreat or a meeting or something. And there'd just almost maybe be little things that felt like they were just kind of being chipped away almost, and the ground under my feet was becoming a little bit more shaky, if you like. And yeah, there kind of then would maybe be this oscillation perhaps, but then sometimes more profound shifts. So some people might call that like an awakening or whatever, or whatever sort of terms people use, but just, and all this really is just an energetic sort of earthquake, if you like. So it doesn't seem to be quite a death, but there just seems to be the whole kind of world of the person seems to be shaken. And yeah, remarkably, this so-called person seems to kind of still survive these quite a lot.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, until just perhaps not, which is what happened with me. There just seemed to be this one day, just there wasn't an earthquake and then someone survived. There was just a complete big bang.
Mm, yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. I mean, for me, life seems in the last week much, much less intense or goal orientated or person centered than ever before. And like
Yeah,
you
I
just,
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, like you just described, conditioning coming up a lot. When there's a space, I would guess that when there's a space, when I'm not intently busy with my life, like I have not been in the last week, then a space has emerged for old patterns to become very, very apparent as well. A little bit like what you described you've been going through in the last 6 months. And it can be very illuminating and intense at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, perhaps with a shift like this or whatever, of course, often this emptiness will be seen, if you like. So
Mm.
I mean, yeah, these things that the person is pursuing, goals, motivations, I mean, all of these can just, well, actually, quite amazingly, how quickly they can just collapse and die. So yeah, I mean, when this is sort of this is the death of the person, but of course, the person carries all of this stuff, the motivation, the goals, the purpose, the sort of the deeper meaning, the all these sorts of things. And there's nothing wrong with this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. It's just that with this so-called death, that all these things, the energy just goes from them. So I'm not sort of trying to not have a purpose. There's just no energy there anymore of sort of someone getting up and being like, right, I need to figure out my life and do something or whatever. I mean, yeah, it's not a intentional effort. It just doesn't seem to happen that much anymore or at all really. Um and yeah, I mean, I was going to say something else to something else you said, but I can't remember now. But yeah, I mean, well, with the sort of taking the week off and things coming up, yeah, of course. Then when this energy perhaps starts to soften, if you could say, perhaps with this sort of shift, then yeah, some of these other things may come up that the person has been, I mean, yeah, because the person is constantly avoiding the intensity of this because it is too much. It will kill the person, quite literally. The person cannot cope with, for example, the intensity of emotion or emotional pain, um, or joy even. It's just 100%. 100%. It's just beautiful. It's stunning, really. It is just pure. I mean, there's just nothing like it, of course. It's just totally pure. So the person cannot ever experience pain because there's just pain or
Yeah,
pleasure, if you like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there seems to be far less of a fixation, of course, on personal goals. Fixing, the sort of resolving of trauma, the fixing of any particular situation, goals, and thinking I must attain this or I'll feel complete when I have this or have this person. That all seems to have fallen away.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. There's just no one asking those sorts of questions anymore. And actually, just like an animal, you could say, of course, the human body is a body, an animal body. So these traumas actually in this just miraculous way actually just seem to heal themselves. In a very human way, of course. So in just a beautiful healing process that's just very organic and natural. Yeah.
I was just going to say very natural. Yes. Yeah. All right, Izzy. Thank you. Thank you for now.
Nice to speak with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Imran. Hi, David.
Hello.
Hi.
Um, so maybe like 2 months ago, there was a lot of listening to talks, and something seemed to just become very obvious. It had mostly to do with thoughts um, that like this concept or words that are kind of said in meetings that like nothing is really known. Um, and that's what kind of became obvious with like thoughts, that like thoughts or anything, all of experience, like there isn't anything that can know what any of this is. It's just appearing, it's just happening. There's just that. But then kind of like this imagery of like just in the last month or so, I guess, of like a snake getting its head cut off. You know, sometimes the body still twitches for a while. And that's kind of been maybe the cycle that's been being felt here or appearing, whatever. Hard to say because what can know that even, but like the certain aspects of the story, like maybe trauma stuff or emotional repressed story time stuff, it seems like it suddenly can become so important and so intense, and a lot of effort and time goes into it, and then it'll just be, you know, sometimes it's just the sky and there's just breathing and there's just whatever, but and even that is like obviously saying way too much, you know, because it sounds like it's known again, but then it's obvious that nothing is known and that there's no center, but there's just kind of this, I don't know, I guess this in and out. But I just thought that image of the snake kind of still clinging to life here and there, even after maybe it's more of like, I don't know, the words that we can use, like an awakening versus, you know, nothing, or the final whatever. But then and I catch myself even like whatever getting into that story, because it's like, well, this is the final. That's what's said, including thinking that it's not. So I don't know, just lots of words, maybe looking for any kind of comment on that. But thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, and actually when you said about the snake, it kind of, I mean, with this death, you could say, if to use that analogy, it's almost like the head being cut off and then the body still seems to be holding. I mean, because all this tension energetically is held in the body, it seems. Um, so, I mean, or most of it, or whatever, that just seems to be a lot. The body seems to tense around this energetic contraction of being someone. And so, yeah, of course, with this death, this so-called death, the body then it seems able to breathe and expand and just be itself. And this doesn't, I mean, well, with me anyway, this doesn't seem to have been happening overnight. So this energetic death of me seemed to just the snake getting its head cut off, if you like, but then the body still seems to be kind of catching up almost with that freedom. So yeah, it's a strange process in that way, one could say. But of course, there's no one who is experiencing it. So yeah, the body's just kind of healing itself, which is just, yeah, a miracle, one could say. Yeah, it is beautiful.
Izzy, have you ever heard of people having specific, or maybe not so specific, shooting pains and things in the body in regard to this? I, just a bit of background. I get pains. I'm a medical person anyway, but I get the weirdest pains that go through my body, almost like You know the way on some of those movies they would try to track, well, the bullet went in here and it came out here. You know, that type of thing. Shooting pains that actually have a pattern, as if they're going through somewhere, and they last for about half a second and disappear. And I, there's no reason for it, or you'll get a pain in your toe that just absolutely excruciating for about half a second. And I wonder, have you ever heard of anyone, or maybe, maybe it's just peculiar to me, but have you ever heard of anyone experiencing that type of thing? Or could this be like energies going off in the body? Or, I mean, it's just some of the stuff. It's like, on some of the places you get pains, but it lasts for about half a second and it's gone. And I mean, my wife looks at me like, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, I'm just get these shooting pains, and you know, and they come in the weirdest places at the weirdest times." You know, have you ever heard of anything like that? No, or is anybody? Or maybe I should. Maybe I should have
Well,
kept that to myself. But it's literally like you could try. I had one night. It was through my foot, went through my knee, and up into my thigh, as if it was a direct line. You know, as if someone like that's not normal. That's weird. Just it seems to be like an energy going off in the body.
right, yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, the, I mean, I don't know if this is my area really. I'm not sure. Not sure I
I'm
can
not
offer
seeking
sort of
medical
medical
advice. Go on.
advice. But no,
Maybe
I know
maybe
what you're
mental advice.
asking.
Have you ever heard of anyone? Has anyone ever described anything like that to you on any of these meetings or anything like that, or
Um, I
sudden pain?
I can't say I have in terms of that kind of matching that description, but definitely sort of well, what happened for me with my body was um just it felt more like so yeah, of course this can manifest probably in different ways for everyone. So I mean I can't who am I to say yes or no? I mean there's just no answer really in that way. But
Really question
well,
it.
yeah, but for me there was more sort of a sensation of kind of almost just like energy dissolving almost. And for me it was mainly out of my chest and my head. Um and this was just a very strong, almost like magnetic kind of sensation. It's very difficult to describe, of course, but actually saying that, I remember now, I had it mainly in those two areas, but also kind of it was in my back, and it was quite a sort of whole body, sort of from my torso upwards kind of thing. Um, and yeah, I mean, kind of from my experience, if you like, of sort of my body seeming to heal itself. Yeah, I mean, all these sorts of stresses are held in the body, so the tensions just seem to kind of relax or come out in lots of different ways. So there's nothing to say that that sort of thing might be some sort of tension release. I mean, I
Yeah,
really
it's
don't know, but
just the weirdest thing, and I know what you mean about energy sort of almost feeling like they're falling away. I occasionally get that, but sometimes when someone says something in a meeting, the speaker will just say something, and it's not like what you're hearing is adding something. It's like something like a little energy just dropping away. It's very
well,
strange.
that's exactly
Um,
what's being described. Yeah, yeah. Spot on. I mean, this is
almost
just that total death is just that energy just pouring out. So that's just the person dying.
well, that's it's weird, strange stuff. But I just thought I'd ask because I mean, I don't get it all the time, but when it does come on, it's not. It's actually not disturbing because I'm so used to it now. But it's just an energy thing, and it can literally show up anywhere at any time, you know. But I mean, it's not something that's maybe it's a silly question, but I do get that sense of something probably around the heart area, just of some almost like something evaporating inside or something. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I remember I don't know if you ever remember the film Back to the Future. where there's a photograph and the photograph starts to do. I don't know if you remember that.
Haven't
The
seen it,
photograph.
no.
Oh no, good grief. Well,
Did I?
you should have seen this, Phil. But there's a little photograph, and because he's in the wrong time for other people in the photograph start to disappear. It's a little bit like that. It's like a sort
Yeah,
of a
exactly. I
disappearance.
see what you mean. Yeah, that sort of
Yeah.
melting away or whatever, or evaporating. Yeah, dissolving. Yeah, I mean, it's. I found it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was unpleasant. It was quite a weird thing because I'd never really experienced it before.
Yeah.
It just felt a bit odd. But
Yeah.
having sort of listened, there was just almost an intuition of knowing what was happening. Like it was scary in
Yeah.
one way, but it was also like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, well, yeah, this is just what's happening. Like it's just sort of natural. It felt very natural, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah. It's strange because what the last gentleman was saying about motivation, it's I have my own business, and it's like I've always been so motivated, and I still am motivated, but there's another part of me part of my language just couldn't give a shit. Just can't care anymore. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be responsible for your business
No,
collapsing.
it's not that. No, it's just there is an energy where that energy used to be. That go get it, let's get it done, let's get bigger, better, all that sort of stuff. That's just, and it's almost like a struggle to get the energy just to keep things going along. It's
Oh, totally.
reasonable.
Yeah, totally.
Because there's a part of me just could not just it's really fun. It's just funny. It just dropped, and it's not replaced by anything. It's just like the energy to do that just somewhere evaporated, And at the same time, I do like my work, but in fact, I love it. But I just can't get It's almost like I can't get myself to care anymore. Very strange.
Exactly. Yeah, the
Yeah.
foundation is just sort of ripped apart in that way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll keep listening. But hey, by the way, it's just lovely to see you back again.
Oh, and thank you for your message as well on Instagram.
Yeah, it really is. It was. I always get concerned about people. Something's wrong. Doom and gloom head here. But no, it's delightful.
Oh, it's so lovely and lovely to see you too. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Okay. Couple in the chat. See what's going on. Trisha, hi. Lovely to see and hear you. I'm good, hoping to get to Kenneth on Saturday. I love Izzy. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. Where's Kenneth speaking? Is that in London?
Yeah, Kenneth is in London on Saturday and Sunday at the Philadelphia Association in Hampstead.
Lovely. Okay. Well, I hope you have a lovely time, whoever's going. Maybe quite a few are going. Okay, Imran. Okay, Imran. I'm often getting very odd body sensations, just energy shifting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we kind of covered that. And yeah, I mean, all sorts can seem to go on. There's no authority of the body. The body, yeah, I mean, it's beautiful in that way. It's just totally natural. The body is just wild and free, if you like. It has none of these sort of thoughts or ideas or whatever things that society or conditioning or culture puts on it. I mean, the body is just a pure animal in that way. And so, yeah, just pure energy, of course. So yeah, with this so-called message, this can just seem to resonate with something. You could say in the body, if you like, or whatever. I mean, it just, yeah, of course, it can't even be located like that, but yeah, the body seems to shift around with perhaps hearing something to do with this.
I kind of put that comment in because David was speaking of body sensations, and I just wanted to share all sorts can happen in the body, yeah, as well as the rest of it as the me falls away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hi, David.
Hello again.
Hello.
Um,
Oh, you seem to have paused.
that's like it's pretty obvious that there never was.
Ah,
I
sorry.
mean, there never could be.
It paused, so I haven't heard anything. You might have to start again. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
I can
Is it
hear
okay
you
now?
now, yeah.
Yeah. What I was saying when it was being seen was a me that could fall away. So it's funny to hear talk about like the process of the me falling away when it's like when it's seen, it's obvious that there never was.
How do you mean?
Like that there never was a me in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, with this so-called death, there's just, yeah, nothing happens. So there's just seen, if you like, that nothing could have fallen away.
Right. But I guess there's confusion sometimes because there's always a lot of talk about the me falling away or the death of me.
Oh
But it's
yeah.
also when it's obvious that there's nothing that could die. That like nothing, literally nothing happens. It's just this energetic oh, and then
Hmm.
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, on these meetings, we seem to talk a lot about the person, me did this, me falling away. But yeah, you're right. Well, in its purest form, if you like, there actually is no message, of course. There just isn't one. But yeah, and that this is nothing being everything is totally inconceivable. And it's actually inconceivable. Yeah, the mind just can't go there. So it's totally energetic. Um, so there can just seem to be a sense of what's being suggested here. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, we talk about the me, the person falling away, but of course none of this ever happens because there just is no me.
Yeah, yeah, that's wild. It's it's also then painful when it's not obvious, and that it's funny that it can be obvious and not obvious, seemingly later, and
Yeah,
like the back and forth of obviously no one, and then how did I lose that, and then oh yeah, nothing was known, nothing happened, and then again.
yeah, and then of course, I mean, the radical thing, if you like, is then of course that actually there is then not even anyone it becomes obvious to, there is no one. So I mean, I got into a bit of a stage with this, if you like, of kind of there being me and then there being this sort of sense of there not being me. Um, but actually, yeah, I mean, I always expected, of course, with this death, for there to be then this. So there seems, with a person, there seems to be this so-called sense of being me. And then I expected there to be this sense of being no me, because of course this is the only thing the person can conceive, because it lives in the world of sensing the world. It lives to start with, so it experiences in the illusion, or the so-called illusion, whatever. So yeah, of course the person can only expect this to be replaced by an experience of nothing, or an experience of no one, however subtle, however empty. It can only ever fill that gap that it feels to be itself or whatever. So yeah, I mean, the surprising thing in many ways is that this death is just the total collapse of everything. So there is not any sense left of anything. So there's no, I have no sense of being no one. And that's just the case for everybody, and everything. There's just no sense of being someone or of being no one. There's just no experience, full stop, I suppose. Yeah, it's quite blunt.
Hi, Izzy.
Hi, Jason. Nice to see you.
Hey, nice to see you too. What you just said, I couldn't even imagine that. Like to not experience what you were saying, like to have no experience of being someone or not someone, right? It just ends. Like there's no way to even imagine that.
No, it's impossible.
Hmm. I don't know. Well, just to share for what's going on here, like seems to be the thing to do. I don't know, but I don't feel like there's anything dissolving or fading away. You know, there's glimpses or whatever, but it seems like the me is just more fanatically holding on. Like, you know, it kind of sees the writing on the wall, so to speak, and is like, ah. So there's like this intensification of
Mm.
like me holding on to me and just being like, whoa, you know, it's okay. It's not like, you know, panic or whatever. It's just what's going on, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, this happened to me too, you could say, towards the end, it just started, yeah, things started to get a bit more just weird or intense, and just, yeah, with the sort of so-called obviousness of it all, it just was, yeah, sort of this, that energy was just sort of the hitting the knife edge of everything. So
Yes, 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 yes.
until it just
Okay, I don't really have anything else to say, but I wanted to say hi.
ah, it's lovely to see you again.
Hi, Izzy.
Hello.
I was going to say, at the beginning of your introduction, as you began to speak, I've heard your introductions before. It really did feel like, because of where I'm at, that there is this natural reality, and the me appears to be some sort of overlay or superimposition on it all, if that makes sense. Can you? I'm not sure if you can relate to that, but yeah, it. This me seems to be becoming optional, basically.
Yeah, I mean, with sort of glimpses, if you like, that may be the kind of dynamic that's sort of set up, that there's kind of a glimpse into the natural reality, if you want to call it that, or what appears to be happening, or just everything. I mean, really, all that's happening there is the so-called illusion is just momentarily falling away, which of just doesn't even make sense, but because it's just not there to begin with. But that's how it feels for the person, that this thing is falling away and then it comes back. So yeah, like you say, then for the person it really feels like there's the natural reality, and then there's the illusion of me that's sort of a layer on top, which, yeah, is a good way to describe probably how that feels for the person when there's kind of this like glimpse or this in and out or whatever. But really, there's sort of with this death, of course, that that overlay, which even if it's seen to sort of be an illusion or whatever, actually just that whole game just collapses, because in the end it's actually also just, there's just no illusion either. So there's just no overlays. There's just everything. There's, if you want to call it the natural reality, then that's, yeah, there's just reality, the natural reality, or there's just life, or there's just what appears to be happening. So actually it turns out that this overlay, which we always talk about, this illusion, there actually is no illusion. So this illusion is only ever apparent. And yeah, I mean, the words get apparent illusion that never happens. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But this is just, yeah, it's just quite a surprising thing, really. It just was never there, which again is just can't be conceived of.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
And the death, Izzy, that you talk about doesn't really happen either. Sure, doesn't. I mean, there's not actually any death, or so it's kind of like sometimes in these meetings there's a lot of talk about the me falling away and the me dying and the death and all that sort of stuff, and it's really just smoke and mirrors, really, isn't it? Because it never really happens.
Totally, yeah.
And even, I mean, whether it's talking about pains in the body, it's all story. It's all story about some. It's a story about an individual that doesn't exist.
Well, yeah,
In
I
a
mean,
sense.
pains in the body just are pains in the body. So they're
Yeah,
they're not real, but they're not real. So
real.
they're just neither real or unreal. They're the pain in the body. So pure sensation is just what appears to be happening. So a pain in the body, a thought in the mind,
Mhm.
a sound. Yeah, it's just purely what appears to be happening. But the so-called illusion, if you like, this apparent illusion, is that it's happening to someone. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't say pain, I wouldn't say the body is an individualized, or sort of the pains in the body are sort of, that means there's an individual. I mean, no, there's just pain in the body. It just seems to be a very natural thing, or healing, or frustration, or whatever kind of comes up, just boundlessly itself. It just isn't happening to anyone.
There can be a lot of frustration with this. I mean, I've been listening to this stuff for over 25 years, and it's like, and and hearing there's no one to fall away for 25 years, and yet the default of this mind is, when am I going to fall away? The default position, if you like, and it keeps going back, and there's nothing that can be done. It's in a sense done about that, because while that me energy exists, it just that it is the default almost of that, that something needs to happen, something needs to change, that I need to drop away, and all that crap, if you excuse my language. But it's sometimes that wears.
Yeah.
You're you didn't have long enough to listen to this for 20 odd years.
Well, unfortunately not. I mean, yeah, I only lasted a couple, I think, if that.
Yeah, lucky you, I'll tell you. But well, I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
that's
I
a
mean,
that's a bit silly, a bit of a silly thing to say, but in a sense, I go out walking and I listen to podcasts and I go, when the when the hell is this ever gonna, if you like, become a reality here? And the only thing I keep referencing is, as I maybe said to you on a previous podcast, about 24 years ago, I had an awakening that lasted for some period of time, and I was blissed out for 2 days. And there's that constant reference
mm,
to
mm,
that, and that's all. That's all there is, and it's kind of like it's just, there is a real frustration that
mhm.
arises. This
Mm,
that this just seems to bounce, whatever the speaker's saying, it just seems to bounce off this thing.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what I mean? And people say, "Oh, that resonates," and I can feel that, and I go, I'm absorbed by it. I'm addicted to it, but it doesn't. I can't say there's resonation or resonance, or I can't say I feel any other than frustration at times. You know,
I mean,
it's like, what?
this
Go ahead.
is the worst possible thing the person, I mean, the person doesn't want this. So yeah, naturally it will bring up all of these sorts of things, frustration. There just seems to be a love-hate loop with this message. Like you say,
Yeah,
you can't stop coming back, but at the same time it's extremely frustrating and very obvious it's not going anywhere, but something still makes you want to come back, kind of thing. So there just seems to be this real like loop of love hate. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I mean, all the things you said, of course, like when will this become a reality, or waiting for this to kind of happen to me, of course. Yeah, the person will just, the whole setup of the so-called person is constantly just using whatever it can to survive. So it will come to this message and kind of be backed into a corner, but then start to use this language to kind of keep that, I mean, that energy just naturally is a treadmill. So it will just set things up like, when's this going to happen? Or, you know, and before it might have been when I become a millionaire, and now it's when I fall away or whatever. There's just constant this sense of when or next, or that there is something else that's not this. So yeah, I mean, this will never happen. You will never fall away, and you will never, this will never become a reality for you, because there is no you. So when I say you, there is there is not a you, there is not a me that this can ever become a reality for. So this message for the person is tragic. It's totally, I mean, it's horrific. It is absolutely awful, because if it's really heard, it's yeah, it's, well, it's empty and full. So it's both the worst and the best, if you like.
yeah. It's so it's in a way it's utterly destructive because
Oh yeah, it's
I
bad.
mean I used to watch YouTube on different subjects, war history, martial arts, whatever it happened to be, and now I look at YouTube and I go, I'm just not interested in any of this, anything at all. Just all of those interests seem to have evaporated, and I come back to this because it's like I remember Jim Newman saying it's not home, but it's as close as you can get. Is that sort of feeling of, well, it's as
Yeah,
close as you, and it's the only thing that really absorbs and in a sense is tangible that you can get I don't know that it's almost like it's the only thing there's energy for in a sense,
exactly. I mean, it
It's,
can seem to get to a point for the so-called person where all the other interest, I mean, this happened for me at least, all the other interests seemed to die, and this was the only thing that I seemed to be interested in, or that seemed to just yeah, there just seemed to just be the last thing there was an attraction to, and all of my focus and energy became on this, especially sort of towards the latter kind of um stages of my living life, if you but yeah, I mean, it is, the person is of course going to be drawn to this, because like you said, Jim said, it can feel like love or like home. Yeah.
it
And there
does.
can just be this sense of perfection and love, and something the person has sensed its whole life, if you like. But yeah, the tragedy is that it will never get there. Unfortunately for the person, it will never get home, because there's no room. Home is so pure and perfect that there is no room for anyone in it. There's just
Mhm.
home.
And it's always home.
It's already home, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's already home. Yeah,
It can't be, of
that was
course,
a,
it can't become home. It's just impossible. Yeah.
yeah. That was I suppose that's the the resounding sort of, or part of the residual of that awakening. There was a feeling of homeness, not me being home. That was, I wasn't there when it happened, but there was
Exactly.
a real sense of real home, real home.
Exactly. Yeah, and it is beautiful. It is perfect in that sense. Yeah, it's stunning, and that can be very, well, I found that very difficult when there was a glimpse or an awakening, and then a coming back, and then a remembering of that sense, that
Yeah.
flavor of what that was like. Yeah, that was a very difficult kind of
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's
yeah,
just really,
totally. Yeah, yeah.
and I suppose the beautiful thing about these meetings is that you get to talk about that, because I mean you don't go into work or come home and talk about I fell away or I wasn't there. I mean they you know, we couldn't have, you know, this conversation couldn't happen in my kitchen if
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean.
I mean, it's these meetings are lovely in that sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
lovely
uh,
space.
and you can this can be a very solitary pursuit in insofar as there aren't many places where you can talk about this, and I suppose to that end, it's I suppose as Jim said, it's the nearest thing to home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know? Are you going to do any live meetings again? Or is
I mean,
that a thought?
definitely something that I think will probably happen. Yeah, I just don't know when at the moment. So yeah, I'd love to do them. But it would just sort of be a timing kind of thing. So yeah,
Cool.
maybe come to Ireland one day.
Oh, that would be lovely. Well, open invitation if you ever want to come.
Oh,
I'll you've somewhere to stay, and I'll set up a room. Don't
oh,
It
that's
wouldn't be a
cool.
problem at all.
That's
I
very
don't know where
kind. Thank
I don't know where I'll set it up, but I would get it done. Don't worry about that.
you.
No difficulties. Seriously, if you ever want to come, it's uh, Northern Ireland. You won't find many non-dual people in much interest in non-duality in Northern Ireland. I think I started a little Facebook page, non-duality Northern Ireland. I think I had 8 people visited in 5 years.
Oh, that's okay.
Or here you're either Protestant or Catholic, and there's
Yeah.
and that's it. You know, it's crazy. But in the south of Ireland, you know, which isn't too far. I mean, I go down and see Kenneth occasionally.
Mm.
In the south of Ireland, there's reasonable interest. They're a lot more
Okay.
open-minded, I think. But oh, absolutely. Or even if you just want to come for a weekend, have a look around. It's
Oh,
it's very beautiful. Have you
yeah,
been?
I've
Have you never
heard.
been?
I've never been, no, no, I've heard, but
Yeah.
I've got Irish um in my blood. Like I've got Irish ancestors, so
But he says that, says he. I'm joking. But yeah, when I watch those parades in America on St. Patrick's Day, I just can't believe how many people are Irish.
Yeah, yeah. I
Really,
mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, as
everybody in
you
America,
say.
everybody in America tells you they're Irish.
Well,
Why they'd
yeah.
want to be, I don't know. But as I say, you'd be very welcome.
Oh, that's really kind. Thank you.
So if there are any other Northern Ireland people come on these meetings, I'd love to hear from them. You know, they can go to my Northern Ireland non-duality Northern Ireland page. You know,
Check it
so
out. Yeah. Plug.
check it out for what there is on it. You know,
I
Oh,
started one for Idaho, and nobody's liked it yet. So
oh.
same boat.
Well, yeah, you can all plug your groups. Put the description in the chat if you want. Okay. Right, we're coming up to time, but Steve, I'm aware you've had your hand up for quite a while, so go for it. This will be the last one.
Oh, okay, thanks. You used the term perfection a few times today.
Mm-hmm.
And if if you're talking about perfection, you're not really you can't really compare everything to anything else, right? I mean, it's not as though there's imperfection.
No, exactly. Yeah. There's no opposite. Exactly.
Right. Okay, great. It's great to hear you, by the way. It's great to hear
Aw.
you talking again. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Izzy, a very quick question. For future meetings, I'm already on your mailing list, I think, from before, from 6 months ago. You used to send details. Do we need to resubscribe, so to speak? Is there anything we need to do for future meetings if you're going to be doing them? Zoom meetings, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about a mailing list at the moment, but Facebook, YouTube, I mainly put them on Facebook. Are you on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook and I'll check, but Trisha referred me, I know Trisha, so she referred me to this one,
Right, okay.
to today's one. Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook,
Instagram.
and also the website, which is thisboundlessfreedom.co.uk.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be
It's
on
up on
there
it.
as well.
It's on Instagram as well, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, it's on Instagram, Facebook, the website, probably YouTube. But yeah, I'm not sure about a mailing list per se. So social media is probably the best place to check.
Okay. Okay, good stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll probably call it a day there then. Yeah.
Thanks, Izzy. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Nice to see everyone again. And thanks for all your lovely messages over the last few months. So yeah, it's been lovely to connect. And I don't know when the next meeting will be actually. I don't really know what's going to happen, whether it will be weekly or not. But as I said to Imran, I'll put it online. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. Take care then. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Everyone.
Thank you,
Izzy.
Izzy. Bye-bye.
Take
Bye
care.
now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Izzy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you again.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.